What's up and what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to OSCOM number 1. And in OSCOM number 1, I'm going to be talking about the future of the CAW community. But first, before I get into that, let me give an intro of what it is that you're watching. It is a player versus AI match between two of my latest CAW creations, the superstar Brett Evans and Panther. Both are presently available on PSN Community Creations. You can find them by typing in the tags FSW or my PSN screen name, which is CAWS.ws. Now, let's get down to business, shall we? The future of the CAW community. As we all probably pretty much know, THQ is pretty much on the verge of being out the door. You know, they've already filed for bankruptcy and they are in the process of liquidating their assets. However, THQ has confirmed that this year we will be seeing two releases, that being Saints Row 4 and WWE 14, of which for the most part most of us believed that WWE 13 was probably going to be the last game that we would see produced by THQ as far as wrestling games go. But under the circumstances, WWE 14 will be the last one. So what does that mean? What that basically means is that following WWE 14, the CAW community is going to be faced with some big time questions. The obvious question is, where do we go from here? Because it's still pretty much up in the air who's going to pick up the WWE Games license once THQ's done with. You know, and obviously, you know, people have their theories. You know, some people say, oh, Electronic Arts should pick it up, and other people are saying that, you know, Ubisoft should pick up the license, and so on and so forth. Me personally, I believe whoever picks up the license, whoever gets the WWE Games license, needs to almost immediately, if not simultaneously, pick up CAWS. CAWS has been the primary developer of all WWE games since the SmackDown series began years and years ago back on the PlayStation 1. They are the ones who created the engine of which the game is built on, which is called the Tokuon Retsuden engine, of which Tokuon Retsuden is the game that CAWS made back in the day that was licensed from New Japan Pro Wrestling. CAWS still actually owns the license to making games for New Japan Pro Wrestling, but they haven't. The last actual New Japan Pro Wrestling game that came out was Wrestle Kingdom 2, which was back in 2006, I believe. Don't paraphrase me, don't quote me on that, I'm not exactly sure, I don't have the information sitting in front of me at the moment, but when last I heard a Wrestle Kingdom game come out, it was back in 2006. But anyways, what it basically boils down to as far as the CAW community goes is that whatever the next game it is that we get after WWE 13, don't hold your breath. Don't get your hopes up. Unless the game is completely and totally developed by CAWS, as in they take everything that they have built in the SmackDown vs. Raw franchise and translate it into whatever game it is that they develop for the next publisher that picks up the license, the game's gonna suck. Because when you think about it, THQ and CAWS have had the better part of the last 14 years with this game engine. 14 years. That's a long time, ladies and gentlemen. Really long time. And as it stands now, 2013, there's still aspects of the game that are not polished. There's still aspects of the game that are not broken. That are broken, excuse me. And, you know, they've had almost a decade and a half to work on and perfect the engine. But a wrestling game engine, as I have said on the CAWS.ws message board for years now, wrestling game engine is probably the single hardest game engine to make, because there's so many different variables to take into consideration in wrestling. It's not as simple as a football game engine, or a basketball game engine, or a baseball game, or hockey, or any other sports game engine, because it's not really a sports game, and it's not really a fighting game at the same time. You know, there's many different scenarios that are enacted in professional wrestling, many areas of combat, many areas of animation, and the fact that THQ and Yuke's have been working on a wrestling game engine for the most part, the Tokuan Retsuden engine, and refining it and fixing it and making it pretty for the last 14 years and still haven't gotten it perfect. What on God's green earth makes anyone believe that some other company, like say Electronic Arts, is going to come along, pick up the WWE engine and do anything better than what it is that we've had for the last 14 years from THQ and Yuke's? It's not happening. Not even in the slightest. Even if Electronic Arts did pick up the license and did pick up Yuke's, guess what? Still going to have the same problems the WWE 13 had, or WWE 14 will have. Still going to have the same issues. You know, there unfortunately is no silver lining in this. So the community as a whole has to face the facts that what it is that we have is as good as it's getting, because chances are, if another company picks up the WWE games license and tries to make a wrestling game from scratch, it's not going to be nearly as good as the games that we have now. WWE 13, WWE 14. Me personally, I'm prepared to make WWE 14 my last WWE games purchase until I see fit and fair enough reason to put my money down on whatever the next game following WWE 14 is going to be. And obviously the verdict's out still on that one. You know, we don't have any freaking clue what that game's going to be, let alone if that game's even going to be worth the plastic it's printed on or pressed on or whatever. You get the idea. But I'm gonna wrap this up a little bit, and basically what it all boils down to is that within the next few months to the next year or so is going to be a really telling time for the CAW community. You know, and people need to wake up, start facing the facts that you know, for as many years it is that everyone's been complaining about how WWE games have sucked and so on and so forth like that. Chances are the game that we get post WWE 14, excuse me, probably going to suck pretty hard in itself. And in hindsight, WWE 14 is going to be all we're going to have left. But anyways, this has been OzComm number 1, the future of the CAW community. I am CAWS.ws, aka Oz70 NYC. If you like the video, like it. If you like it a lot, subscribe, share it with your friends, and that's it. I'm out.